Hello everyone, let me share with you my local setup for development using Cursor, Claude Code, GitHub, a project brain that tells me what to do, terminal that runs the server, browser that runs the front end in local, everything. So I'm just giving you a quick glance of my setup. So just for you to know, just to give you a little inspiration if you don't know this type of setups, and for me to have to record how I work in case I forget one day, because this is a little bit, there is a lot of pieces here. So let's go. I'm going to start in this view here, so I can show you. No, actually, I'm going to use this view. So I can, you can see the different desktops I've got here, the different screens. So I'm going to start from this 4 on the top, and then this other 4 on the bottom. This is because I've got my laptop and then the screen on top of the laptop, okay? So going in the main screen, screen, top right corner, this is GitHub. So I can see my project here. This is GitHub and my project. And also, this GitHub project is looking at my folder in local, okay? Very important. This is the project, and I've got it here. In a first glance, I can see. Also remember that in Mac, if you do Command-Shift-N, you can see the invisible or the hidden files. Very, very important, because there is files like the .mb, which is here, that it's hidden by default. These little tricks are basic. You need to be able to see, and first you need to know that there is invisible files like the gitignore or the .mb, because this is the base of your code. Okay, so boom, boom. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. This is an important thing. This is the GitHub, which show me all the changes, and if I want to commit a change, I write it here, but there is no changes here to commit at the moment. So next thing, this is the brain, but I'm going to get there in a second. This is Cursor. For those who you don't know Cursor yet, this is Cursor. And for those who know him, this is Cursor again. On the left side, this is the Cursor chat. This is the AI of Cursor. Here, in the middle, there is 2 parts of the window. The bottom part is the terminal, and the top part is the file viewer. So I can see the files, you see? Right. And if I go to terminal and I go new terminal, this is a fresh terminal. This terminal is inside the project. This means that if I go to this project and I do right button and I go to open a new terminal, this is the same thing, okay? So I know it because it says here, it says Mini Academia Kit. This is the name of the project. And if I go to Cursor, says the same, Mini Academia Kit, right? This might look very basic for many people who are more advanced, but this type of solid steps are really, really important. So the terminal in Cursor is the same as the terminal in your computer that is looking at your project. There is another way of doing it, which you could open a new window and then you do CD and you put the root of the project, but it's much quicker if you go to the file, right button, and you open it like this, okay? So I'm here. If I do ls, like list the directories and the files, it gives me all the content, so I know that I'm in the right place. Another quick one is Control L in Mac cleans the window of the terminal again, so which is very useful. So I'm going to put the window of the terminal here, and with a shortcut, I'm going to make it occupy the full screen. Okay, so nice and easy. So this is the Cursor, this is the GitHub, and this is the Claude. This is Claude.ai in the browser. And this is the brain of my project. What I mean by that? What I mean by that is I'm using the intelligence of Claude, which for me is the best for these purposes. And then I can choose, in every chat, I can choose whether I want Sonnet 4.5 intelligence strength, or I want the full intelligence strength Opus 4.5. And I can choose it and have different chats with different intelligence strength. All this, the reason why I use Claude is because of the intelligence strength. And second, I use the project. The project is just a container which you could put a lot of context and instructions. But this is not the case in this case. In this case, I'm using a project only as a container. So all the chats I've got are saved in here and they show in order. So I know very well what I did from the beginning to the current state of my project. So these two tabs are the last one and the previous one steps. Okay. So why I'm showing you this? Because this is the last one and this is the before the last one. In the before the last one, you can see it's a very long chat, too long. I left it too long. Why is this important? Because every time you keep the chat super long, every single character that the LLM generates to answer you constructs he builds all the answer again plus the new character. Imagine the amount of tokens that is required to maintain this long chat. So what I do is when the chat gets too long, I'm going and I'm saying to the chat, okay, I'm going and I'm saying, please provide me a continuation prompt so I can continue, I can paste it. Sorry, the prompt is here. So I can paste it in another chat, in a fresh chat, so the new chat knows exactly where did I left it. And I'm gonna give the chat the context of my project again. And the context of my project, it's always the same. It is my framework of work. It is my PRD and a couple more bits and pieces that I use. And why is this important? This is very important because then the way I use the project brain is, okay, you know the PRD, so you know the project I want to build. You know, for example, my 12-phase framework. And what is this? My 12-phase framework, it is the way I find out that when I build following these steps in the right order, the development goes well, goes solid, and progresses in a way that one step after the other step. An example of this would be, this framework says, make the user interface of your app first, fill it with mock content, then build the database after. Build the structure of the database according to the content on the front end, which is properly placed now. So build the right database structure based on that content in the right places, in the right sections, in the right pages. Then we're gonna connect the database with the front end, and the mock content will populate the structure of the database. So they are correctly connected. So from now on, every time we add content in the front end, it's gonna save it correctly in the database. And so this is an example of why filling a framework, it's important. And this 12-phase framework, for me, it's working very well from the first day. So I keep using it. And I put it always as a context. Okay, so this is the big brain. And then the big brain is going to tell me, okay, let's start the development environment in your computer. And I go, okay, how is this going to work? Because I don't know. And he goes, don't worry. I know perfectly that what we're doing, we're coming from Replit. You upload your Replit app to GitHub. You download it to your local machine. And then you did a few steps to make it work in local. So now we need to run the local environment. So the local environment is, in the local environment, we've got backend and frontend. So the backend is a server that runs locally, and the frontend is another server that runs in your browser. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. You need to open a terminal outside of cursor. Okay, so if this is cursor, I've got a terminal outside, okay, and he's telling me what to do. So I want to show you how he tells me what to do. So in this one, he was telling me what to do to run the local environment for the, let me see, it's not very far. Okay, npm run dep. This command here, if I run it here, and if I put npm run dep, and I do this, enter. Now it's working. No, it's not. Yes, it is working. Yes, it is working. But if I have a doubt, I'm not sure. I would copy this, and I would come to the brain and say, after npm run dep, and I paste this, and he is gonna assess the situation, and he's gonna know what to do, and he goes, okay, perfect, everything is looking fine here. Just go to localhost 3000 on your browser. So if I go to my window here, and I stick this URL in the browser, and then boom, the front end is running in the local host 3000. And in here, I've got the backend running. This is the logs of my backend. This is Express running in local. So what else? Okay, so what now we managed to run a local app in my computer, which is looking good. So now the next step is migrated to the internet. So in order to do that, I'm going to the very last chat, and he's saying me in Spanish, he's saying, okay, the next step is we're going to create a project in Railway. Why in Railway? Because after a big conversation with the main project brain, we both decided that the best option, according to my needs, to my learning phase, and to everything, we decided that we're going to deploy this project to internet, and the backend will be living in Railway, and the frontend will be living in Netlify. There is many options. There is a say in Spanish that says there is many ways to get to Rome. So it's true. No problem. I choose this one. So now I can go here and say, okay, so I'm gonna use Whisperflow, which is another key tool to talk to your AI rather than write. Talk to your AI. You could talk just setting up the native dictation mode, which is free and available in every operative system of a modern computer. But I find out the Whisperflow, it's a very much accurate writing. It puts all the detail, and I like it better. So I use this one, and I'm going to say something in Spanish. Okay, ¿cuál es el siguiente paso? Which is, okay, what's the next step? And the project brain is going to tell me what is the next step. So, and I'm going to follow it, and if something is not working properly, we're going to go around that stage, that step, until we get to the next step. And we are very well following a plan, which is the PRD plan, because we don't do anything by, inspiration. No, we follow the plan. So it's giving me this next step. But for you to see, I'm going to ask him something else. Por favor, dame un poco de contexto en qué punto estamos respecto al PRD. I just said, please remind me where we are in respect to the PRD, the main project plan. So now he's giving me this summary. We we completed phase 1, we completed phase 2, and now we are in this final deploy step. So recap again, or recap 1. What I wanted to do here is share with you my local environment, which I think is, you could say that this is overkill, but this is not overkill. This is exactly what you need to do a professional local web developing environment. And I wanted to share with you key ideas. The project brain lives in Claude because of the intelligence power. It's very good for this type of projects. This is the project brain. Then he will let me know what to do. And then I orchestrate manually. I do what he tells me, and I put commands in the terminal so I can start the server in local, something that I didn't know how to do, but he knows, and now I know. So I'm learning, very important. I've got this version control system in place, which is really good because it allows me to develop in a professional way with branches for new features, or I can go back in time if I messed up something. Then I've got cursor here, which I didn't explain well, but there is a very interesting way of using cursor too. Cursor here, it is the senior developer of the project. Cursor with this chat is the senior developer of the project. He sees all these files. And because in these files there is a PRD here and a Claude MD here, the PRD tells to Cursor AI what type of project I'm building, what is the end goal. And the Claude MD tells Cursor what is the technical details of this project. What I mean by that is what technology in the front end, what technology in the back end, and everything else in between. Because there is a lot of pieces. And if you don't let him know, he doesn't know what he's using. An example would be if I'm cooking in the kitchen and I've got a chef that is cooking with me. We are both chefs, but I cook with metallic knife and fork, and he likes to cook with wooden knife and fork. They both are knife and fork, and they both are useful for cooking, but we are not using the same type of tools. And we need to be 100% aligned. Why? Because if there is a step in the process of the recipe that the recipe says, now you need to move this amount of food from this side to this side, and this needs to be in a wooden fork, otherwise if it's metal it's gonna oxidate the material, and if you don't have this wooden foot in the first place, then you are messing up the project. So to start from 100% control environment, that's the Claude MD. And then the PRD is the end goal. What is the project, okay? What is about, who is for, what features has, everything. So the AI, the Cursor AI knows this, knows the project and knows the details of the technology. And then I go to the project brain and I say, okay, we are in local and we are running the app in local because look, it's here, everything. But I find that there is an error here. Look, there is an error. What do I do? And he's going to say, okay, it's time. So you go to your cursor, you go to the cursor chat and tell him the error. And then tell him in this specific way. So he's going to give me a prompt that I'm going to put here. And I'm going to give this prompt to Cursor, letting him know what's the error in the front end, in the app. And Cursor is going to say, okay, so you want me to fix this error, but the senior developer doesn't get his hands dirty. He only delegates the job to the junior developer. So who is the junior developer? The junior developer is, I open the terminal, and the junior developer, the one that is going to touch the code is Claude Code. Claude Code is here. Okay. So Cursor has the ability to see all the project, knows every specific file, folder, and the insides of every file. So he sees the code, he diagnoses the problem, and he tells me what to do. So I pass the instructions to the executor, to the junior developer. And this junior developer is going to write on the code, and he's going to tell me, okay, I've done the changes, looks fine to me. And then I'll go like a human. I'll do the human work, which I am the bridge. I am also the orchestrator of all this, but I'm the bridge. And I'm going to go and see if the error is solved. It is solved, cool. If it's not solved, who I tell that the is not solved. If it's not solved, I'm gonna tell it to the senior developer, to the chat, Cursor chat. Hey, look, this is not working. Tell me what else to do. And because he can see the changes that the junior developer has done, I don't need to let this guy I don't need to tell him what this other guy did, because he knows what this guy does every time, because he sees the effect on the code base every time. So I go to the big boss and I say, this is still not working. You better fix this. So he's going to give me another prompt. Okay, tell him to the junior to do this. So the junior is going to do it, and hopefully after 1 or 2 iterations, is going to do it. So if it doesn't work, what I'm going to do? I'm going to open another new terminal, and this time I'm going to open a terminal not with Claude Code Sonnet 4.5, but I'm going to increase the intelligence power, and I'm going to invoke Opus 4.5. But it's still the junior developer. It is still the guy that touches the code, writes the code. So, okay, so one last thing. Every little feature, every little fix, every time this guy managed to do something and finish it, I go and I close this window. Why I do that? Because every time you close this window or you do exit, you reset the context window. This is the same as when this window gets too long, you waste a lot of tokens and the model gets confused. So every time you open a new one, you see you see the scroll bar. It is a scroll bar because there is very little window context in here. This is the best scenario where the AI works with a short context window. So this translates here too. When you've got all these windows, okay, each window can get very long, so you don't want it to get very long. Every time you finish a small feature, you close it and you open a new feature, a new window. Every time the big boss tells you a new feature. Right, so it is a 27-minute video. I know it's long. If you make it to the end, this is because you really are interested in this subject. I hope that is inspiring for you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to share. I'm not the ultimate expert, but I like this. I put a lot of concentration. I try to learn every step and then share it. The good thing also for using, the reason why I use this project brain and the reason why I've got so many chats is this is not only productivity. This is mostly learning, but it's learning inside this context of a project. So all these are a lot of conversations of learning. And I say, okay, but why you do this? Okay, why are you asking me to run this npm run deb command in the terminal in the computer? So, and he explains to me. And another thing is that when he explains, and I get a lot of, and I get a lot of information, and I'm going and I'm building all these processes for myself. Template, document processes, you see? And I like to call it methods, because when you do a process repeatedly following a sequential order that works, this is a protocol, this is a method. So I protocolize everything that works, not everything, just everything that works. So at the end, I've got all this knowledge base of my learning, and this is my knowledge base of webs. This is my knowledge base of audiovisual creation, and this is my knowledge base of marketing. So this is how I approach using AI for developing things, for going beyond my boundaries, learning, and then documenting it, and then sharing it, and then also, for sure, making a profit of it. So it's not only learning because I'm a motivated guy. It's because I like to build things, but you need to learn it. And today we are very lucky that we can do this with the AI. So I hope you like it. See you in the next one.